Roughly 4 out of every 10 cancers in this country are tied to things you can actually change. That number comes from the National Cancer Institute, and the single most powerful lever on it is sitting in your own kitchen right now. After 50, the repair crews inside your body slow down. The systems that are supposed to catch one damaged cell before it turns into something dangerous get a little less reliable with every year that passes. Today, I'm going to hand those systems the exact raw material they need. 10 foods ranked from the weakest evidence to the strongest that lower your cancer risk. And number 1 is the food that almost every patient over 50 I have ever met walks straight past in the grocery store. It costs about $1. By the time we get there, you will understand exactly why it belongs in your cart before you go to bed tonight. Let me be direct with you. I have spent years sitting across a desk from people on the worst day of their life. After the scan, after the words nobody ever wants to hear, and the question almost every one of them asks me is the same one. Was there something I could have eaten differently? I will give you the honest answer because you deserve it. Food is not a guarantee, and it is not a cure. No vegetable on earth treats a tumor that has already started. But the science on lowering your risk before anything begins is real. It is decades deep, and your doctor has no time to walk you through a word of it. A 12-minute appointment covers your blood pressure and your prescription refill. There is no slot on that schedule for which foods actually protect your DNA. So I am going to give you that slot, and here is how this list works. Every food gets a grade for how strong the evidence really is. Emerging means promising, but still early. Moderate means we have solid studies in real people. Strong means about as close to proven as nutrition ever gets. We start at number 10 and we climb. Number 10 is garlic and the whole onion family that travels with it. Your onions, your leeks, your chives, your scallions. When you crush a clove of garlic, it releases organosulfur compounds. Those are sulfur-based molecules, and your liver uses them to switch on its detox enzymes, the cleanup crew that grabs a carcinogen, a cancer-causing molecule, and tags it for removal before it can ever reach a cell and do harm. The National Cancer Institute keeps a dedicated review on garlic, and several large population studies have linked the people who eat the most of it to lower rates of stomach and colon cancer. I'm grading garlic emerging, and I want to be straight about why. Most of the strongest evidence so far comes from the laboratory, not yet from big human trials. But weigh the two sides for a second. The cost of being wrong here is a few cloves of garlic a week. The cost of ignoring it, if the science holds, is one of the most common cancers there is. One small habit makes a real difference. Crush the clove, then let it sit on the cutting board for about 10 minutes before it hits the heat. That resting step is what actually activates the protective compound. Cook it too fast, and you lose most of it. Number 9, green tea. Not the supplement, not the pricey extract in a capsule, the actual brewed cup. Green tea is loaded with catechins, a family of plant antioxidants, and the most studied one goes by the name EGCG. Antioxidants earn their keep here for a specific reason. Every single day, the cells in your body take hits from free radicals, unstable molecules that nick and fray your DNA, and a damaged gene is the very first step on the long road to a cancer. The catechins in green tea help neutralize those molecules before they land the hit. Now, I will not oversell this. The National Cancer Institute's own review calls the human evidence inconsistent. Some large studies find fewer cases, others find nothing at all. That honest mixed picture is exactly why green tea sits at emerging and not higher up this list. The practical way I put it to my own patients is this. If you are going to drink something warm in the afternoon anyway, make it a green tea instead of your third coffee of the day. There is no real downside, and there is a genuine possible upside. 2 to 3 cups a day is the amount that shows up in the hopeful studies. Number 8, mushrooms. And this is where this list starts to surprise people. The plain white button mushrooms, the cheapest ones in the produce aisle, are quietly one of the more interesting foods here. They contain beta-glucans, a type of fiber that appears to prime your immune surveillance. That is, the internal patrol system whose entire job is to find an abnormal cell and deal with it before it multiplies. As you age, that patrol gets slower, and anything that sharpens it is worth your attention. Keep in mind where we are headed. We are climbing toward the single food with the strongest evidence of all, and every step up this list, the science underneath it gets harder and more certain. Mushrooms are not at the top. They are still emerging, but a growing body of research, including reviews summarized by the National Cancer Institute, ties regular mushroom eaters to lower rates of cancer, breast cancer in particular among older women. I grade it emerging. I eat them every week anyway, and at about $1 a carton with no calories to speak of, I think you should too. Slice them into eggs, into soup, into a pasta sauce where nobody will even notice them. Number 7, and right here we cross a line into moderate evidence, the tier with real human studies standing behind it, tomatoes. And this matters. Cooked tomatoes specifically, tomato sauce, tomato paste, a tin of crushed tomatoes. The pigment that makes a tomato red is called lycopene. And lycopene is a powerful antioxidant that happens to concentrate in the prostate gland. The National Cancer Institute has tracked men who eat the most cooked tomato products and found lower rates of prostate cancer, which is one of the most common cancers in men over 50. Most people get the next part exactly backwards. Raw tomato, the slice on your sandwich, barely gives you any usable lycopene at all. It takes heat and a little olive oil to break down the tomato cell walls and multiply how much your body can actually absorb. So, the marinara on your pasta is genuinely doing more for you than the fresh slice in your salad. If you are a man over 50 listening to this, that is not a small footnote. That is a reason to cook your tomatoes and eat them often. Number 6, a small handful of nuts. And walnuts lead the whole pack. Walnuts carry a plant-based omega-3, along with compounds called elagitannins, which the good bacteria in your gut convert into anti-inflammatory molecules. Pay attention to that word inflammation, because it is going to come back. Chronic low-grade inflammation, the kind that simmers in the body for years without you feeling a thing, is one of the quiet engines that lets a damaged cell grow unchecked. Quick thing while we are together here. I genuinely want to know how old you are. Drop your age in the comments right now. It shapes which topics I choose to cover next more than you would think. And if this list has been useful to you so far, a quick like is what tells the algorithm to put it in front of more people your age who need to hear it. So the evidence on nuts is solidly moderate, and some of it comes from one of the best sources in all of medicine. A trial published in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2018 followed thousands of older adults eating a Mediterranean-style diet rich in nuts and olive oil and tracked fewer chronic disease events over years of follow-up. The dose is a small handful a day, not the whole bag. The oils are calorie dense, so a handful is the move, scattered on your oatmeal or eaten plain. Number 5, berries. We are halfway up the list now, and from here on, the evidence only gets stronger. Blueberries, blackberries, the darker the better. That deep, almost bruised color is the whole point. The pigments responsible for it are called anthocyanins, and along with a compound called elagic acid, they are among the most potent antioxidants in the entire food supply. Remember what antioxidants do for you. They reduce the oxidative damage to your DNA, the slow wear and tear that piles up in your cells with every passing decade and sets a stage for trouble. The National Cancer Institute and clinics like the Cleveland Clinic point to berries specifically for a simple reason. You get an enormous antioxidant payload for very few calories and almost no spike in your blood sugar, which matters a great deal when you are over 50 and watching your metabolism. One more thing, because I know money is real. Frozen berries count completely. They are often picked riper than the fresh ones, and they cost a fraction as much. Half a cup a day, stirred into your oatmeal or your yogurt, and you are done. Number 4, fatty fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel, the oily ones. These are the single richest source of marine omega-3s, the EPA and DHA, that your body cannot manufacture well on its own and has to get from your plate. Now, think back to what I told you about walnuts. Inflammation is one of the quiet engines of cancer. Marine omega-3s are one of the strongest dietary breaks we know of on that exact engine. They calm the chronic low-grade inflammation that damaged cells use as cover to grow. Both the Mayo Clinic and the National Cancer Institute connect a higher intake of these omega-3s with lower rates of several cancers, colorectal cancer among them. The target that nearly every major health body in the world agrees on is 2 servings of oily fish a week. And let me save you some money while I'm at it. Sardines are quietly the cheapest health food in the entire store, about $1 a tin. They come packed with the little bones still in them, which means you are also getting a dose of calcium for those aging bones of yours. 2 birds, one very cheap tin. Number 3, and this is the one a lot of you came here for, the cruciferous vegetables. Broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, kale, Brussels sprouts. We are near the very top now, and these have earned their place at it. When you chew raw or lightly cooked broccoli, an enzyme reaction inside the plant produces a compound called sulforaphane. And sulforaphane is one of the most heavily studied protective compounds in all of nutrition science. It does 2 genuinely remarkable things inside you. First, it switches on those same phase 2 detox enzymes, the liver cleanup crew we first met all the way back at number 10. Second, it appears to help your body carry out apoptosis, that is programmed cell death, the built-in self-destruct button that a healthy cell pulls when its own DNA has been damaged beyond repair. The National Cancer Institute keeps an entire dedicated review on cruciferous vegetables for exactly these reasons. There is a catch you have to know about, though. Do not boil these to death. Hard boiling destroys the very enzyme that makes the sulforaphane in the first place, so you end up with mush and almost none of the benefit. Steam them lightly until they are still bright green and have some bite, or eat some of it raw. 3 to 5 servings a week is the range to aim for. Number 2 is going to surprise you because for years you were told the exact opposite. Coffee. Plain brewed real coffee. As it turns out, coffee is one of the richest sources of polyphenols, a class of protective plant compounds in the entire Western diet. And the evidence has now grown strong enough that the whole picture on it has flipped. The National Cancer Institute today points to consistent data showing that regular coffee drinkers have meaningfully lower rates of liver cancer and uterine cancer and very likely colon cancer as well. I want to be precise so nobody takes the wrong message. This is not the jittery, anxious 5-cup-a-day habit. 2 to 3 cups of black coffee a day is the amount where the protection actually shows up in the studies. And if caffeine keeps you awake at night, switch to decaf without guilt, because the polyphenols largely survive the decaffeination. So, after all those years of feeling slightly guilty about your morning cup of coffee, I get to tell you something rare. On this one, the science is on your side. Before I give you number 1, I want to tell you about a man I will call Frank. Frank was 67 when he first sat in my office. A retired electrician, sharp as a tack, the kind of man who used to joke that vegetables were what his food ate. For about 40 years, it was white bread, processed deli meat, and almost no fiber to speak of. When the diagnosis came back, colon cancer caught at stage 2, he was genuinely stunned because he felt completely fine. There were no symptoms he had noticed. And the thing that stayed with me was what he said next. In 40 years, not one person had ever sat him down and told him that the ordinary way he ate was quietly raising his risk the entire time. Frank is doing well today, and I want you to hear what the very first thing he changed was. It was not a medication. It was his plate. He started building nearly every meal around the number 1 food on this list. And that is exactly where we are headed now, because this is the part the system is never going to tell you. There is money in your hospital bed and money in your prescription. There is none in a doctor explaining to you for free what to put in your grocery cart. Nobody was ever paid to sit Frank down and explain this. So let me be the one who does it for you. Number 1, the most powerful food on this entire list, the one with the strongest evidence of all, and the one almost every person over 50 walks right past in the store. Beans. Lentils, chickpeas, black beans, kidney beans, and the whole grains that sit on the shelf right beside them. Here is exactly why they win. They are the single richest everyday source of dietary fiber. And fiber is the one dietary factor where the cancer evidence climbs all the way from moderate up to strong. This is the mechanism nobody explains to you. When that fiber reaches your colon, the trillions of bacteria living down there ferment it into a short-chain fatty acid called butyrate. And butyrate is extraordinary. It is the preferred fuel of the cells that line your colon wall. And it does two jobs at once. It keeps the healthy lining cells thriving, and it encourages the damaged precancerous cells in that same lining to pull their own self-destruct button. The NIH-AARP study, one of the largest diet studies ever conducted on human beings, and a major 2019 review published in The Lancet, both found the same thing. The people who ate the most fiber had clearly lower rates of colorectal cancer, which is the second deadliest cancer there is. And this is the part that makes me want to shake people. A can of beans costs about $1. It is sitting on the bottom shelf completely ignored while people walk past it to spend $50 on supplements that do a tiny fraction of what that $1 can does. That is your number one. Build your next meal around it. So what do you actually do with all of this? Here are 5 things you can start tonight in plain order of how much they matter. 1. Open a can of beans or lentils and add them to whatever you are already cooking. That is the number one move, and it costs almost nothing. 2. Swap one refined grain for a whole one, brown rice or oats instead of the white version. 3. Put 2 servings of oily fish on your shopping list for the week, and remember that the dollar tin of sardines counts every bit as much as the fancy salmon fillet. 4. Steam your broccoli instead of boiling it, and get into the habit of crushing or chopping your garlic about 10 minutes before it ever touches the pan. That short waiting period gives the natural compounds inside the garlic time to activate. Once activated, they become much more beneficial, helping your body take advantage of some of garlic's most protective properties. It is a tiny step that costs nothing, takes almost no effort, and can make a meaningful difference over time. Number 5, rethink what you reach for when afternoon thirst or fatigue starts creeping in. Instead of another sugary drink, make a cup of green tea or a simple black coffee part of your routine. Both contain natural plant compounds that researchers have studied for their potential protective effects. Then add a handful of berries to your breakfast whenever you can. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, or whatever is available in your grocery store can provide fiber and antioxidants that help support your body's natural defense and repair systems. These are not miracle foods, but they are small choices that can add up day after day, month after month, and year after year. Now, before you leave, I want to give you one honest message because I believe in explaining the mechanism first and the warning second, never the other way around. Food is about prevention. Food helps lower risk over time. It helps create an environment inside the body that supports health and reduces the wear and tear that accumulates with age. But food is not a substitute for medical screening. It cannot replace recommended checkups, and it cannot treat a cancer that has already developed and begun to grow. That distinction matters. So if you ever discover a new lump that was not there before, notice unexplained bleeding, experience persistent changes in your body that do not make sense, or find yourself losing weight without trying, understand that you have moved beyond a nutrition question. At that point, the priority is not changing your grocery list. The priority is making an appointment with your doctor and getting evaluated as soon as possible. Those are situations where waiting and hoping is not a strategy. Get it checked, get answers. Do not delay. And with that said, here is the one message I hope stays with you long after this video ends. Your risk is not fixed. Your future health is not completely written in stone. No matter your age, your body is remarkably active behind the scenes. Right now, at this very moment, old cells are being removed, damaged cells are being repaired, and new cells are being created. Your body is constantly working to maintain itself, protect itself, and keep you going. You cannot control every factor that affects your health. You cannot change your genetics. You cannot go back and rewrite the choices you made 10 or 20 years ago. But you do have influence over what happens next. And one of the most powerful influences available to you is sitting right in front of you several times every single day. Your next meal. What you choose to put on your plate tonight, tomorrow morning, and throughout the coming weeks is one of the few genuine levers you can still pull as you age. Each healthy choice may seem small on its own, almost insignificant in the moment, but those choices accumulate. They stack together over months and years to help shape the environment inside your body. So do not think in terms of perfection. Think in terms of direction. One better meal, one better snack, one better habit. Those small decisions, repeated consistently, can become something much larger than they appear today. And that is how long-term health is built. Not through dramatic changes made once, but through simple choices made again and again over a lifetime.